Okay, well, let's go ahead, get started. We're going to talk about Microsoft Outlook this time. This is Tech Tip Tuesday. Like all other Tech Tip Tuesdays, goal here is simple, share simple ideas to make yourselves a little bit more efficient and effective. Today, we are covering Outlook, trying to create a safe space for organizing or for learning from each other. If you have any comments, feel free to add them to the Q&A and I'll answer them there. I'll have that up. So just for everyone to know, and then next week we'll have it a little bit more interactive. If you guys have any questions as well, feel free to reach out afterwards and we'll jump in. So remember, our Outlook is our main email, calendar, contacts, task. It's become really the hub of everything. I did want to spend a second here at the beginning to talk about Outlook versus Teams, chats, and channels. So we really talked about chats and channels being used for most of your internal communication. What you should start thinking about is, what is your communication protocol? When should we use what? And then external versus delayed, real time versus if you'd want to delay it so that you can send it later or have people get it to there on their time. Teams is much more of an instant feedback. I would also say Outlook is for the larger group, and then small group teams, small teams. So one question I wonder though, will Outlook ever go the way of the fax machine? Like, will we ever get to the point where Teams and more collaborative exchanges of information that you can edit and make more dynamic updates ever replace Outlook overall? But it's here for a while. We're going to stay with it. So we'll work through there. So today we're going to hit up a couple things. Just mention here that, like, hey, Microsoft To Do is in there. Quick steps focused. I will mention that email templates actually went away in the new tool. So you're just gonna have to, you can save draft emails and work from there. We'll talk about app mention and so much more. Remember also, look at the Outlook mobile app. It's so much better for your work email. I would recommend, what I do is I have like Gmail for my personal and Outlook for my work email, and everything goes through there. So just keep dividing those back and forth, see what you think. Try to go away from the native iOS app and the native Android app. They're usually like Outlook, honestly. I'd love to hear some comments if you guys think that who hasn't switched to the Outlook app and why they haven't, or if they just haven't tried it yet. So if you have any, like I said before, if you have any comments as we jump in here, let me know. We'll go ahead and get started on actually jumping in. So first thing I want you guys to do is look at some of your settings here up at the top right. Remember, you always have your automatic replies. You can turn that on. That's really helpful. Most people use that by now. A couple other ones here. There is the general appearance. So take a look at that. I like using the system settings here for light and dark, but here's some cool things that you can do. If you like choose your favorite color, you can use colorful apps, and you'll notice that my apps change here. The other thing is show app names. If you wanted to see that on the left here, you can do that as well. When you're done, I don't really show app names, but just hit save. The other things that you have in here, and I'm just going to hit a couple highlights of these, is under mail. I recommend using everything by conversation. So if you don't have it by conversation, also using the focused inbox. I'll talk about that focused and other here in a second. There's a couple new things that I thought were interesting. Conditional formatting. You can actually come in here and add a rule. So if I wanted to make a Brittany rule, add a condition from, you can do subject, you can do a bunch of different things. So this is really just like pre-highlighting your information as they come in. And then choose a color. And let's choose green. So it will actually highlight the sidebar, the unread bar, the message title, and the date that it's sent on. So you can save that. So that's kind of fun to help organize your life. Then you have quick steps right here. Well, we'll talk about sweep here in a minute, but like quick steps, going through, creating one-click quick steps is really helpful. This customize actions. So on your inbox here, when you hover over it, you have a few actions. I would suggest looking at this and deciding which ones you like and which ones you don't. So maybe you want to use archive here instead of delete, because you don't delete emails, you just archive them. You can use move to folder, you can flag, you can pin, just change these up for the tools that you actually use. So I find that helpful. Actually, the new app has swipe left and swipe right. I can't do it here on a non-touch screen, but if I would move down to another screen, you can actually swipe this left and swipe this right, just like you would on a mobile device. So that really helps it if you use a touch device to actually go through that. So those are some of the mail ones. We're not going to talk about calendar today, but I wanted to show you a couple quick things in here that to make yourselves a little bit more helpful. So under calendar here, you have a couple events and invitation items that I'd like to show you. So this one, delete invitations as after they responding in inbox. So suggest maybe turning that off if you like to have after an invite, it stay right here in your inbox, and then the show declined events on your calendar. So if you decline it, you'll still be able to see it. You'll still be able to see the chat, which is nice there. So I'd recommend turning this on. This one's kind of a personal preference right here. So whichever one you want there. Okay, that's all I have for like your settings and quick steps there. I want to jump into some of the quick things you can do in your inbox here. So just top left to right, this is the new ribbon. Just remember, you can always jump to the classic ribbon here if you really want to and kind of get it back to the older look, but simplified ribbon, nicer way to do it. So generally I archive things instead of deleting, but remember here, like you got your delete, is you can press delete on your keyboard to delete an email. You can press the backspace, which is usually larger, to just archive an email. So as I'm going through and triaging my email, I can just hit delete, backspace, and move back and forth really quickly. Reporting is phishing and junk, so make sure you do that. That will help actually your entire company delete those emails. So difference between junk is, hey, this is just stuff I don't want to see, mail list or something like that. Phishing is actually trying to solicit information from you, attack you as an individual. Sweep is kind of an individual one. Our new one is like a simplified role. So I haven't used this a whole lot, but I think it's kind of cool where it lets you take messages from a particular user. So I've been thinking about doing this, like you can move it all message from an inbox and any future messages, or move all messages from that user, or always keep the latest and move the rest from the inbox. And then you can just move them to any folder that you want. So it lets you clean them up, or you can move messages that are older than 10 days. So some quick rules about sweeping them out. You can set up as many of these as you want, but like if, for example, maybe I have a client that I want to just move all messages, so I clean it up and just hit that sweep button to move them all as they go from the current inbox. So you can just hit that each time. Move to, you have your general move to folder. You can always just drag and drop as well. So then you have all your replies. I would suggest adding a reply by meeting. So this is one of my pet peeves, is why aren't we replying by meetings? People have 15 different things, and then you'll come to calendar, you'll come here, you'll create a new meeting, you have to retype the things. You can actually click here as well and reply here, but if you go in and customize, so come here to your line or your three dots, customize your inbox or your ribbon, you can pull things up and down. So by default, if for some reason this reply by meeting is turned off, I suggest turning it on here, going ahead and grabbing that, and then just putting it exactly where in that group response that you want. You can also turn on and off things here. So like we don't print, so we could technically turn that off. Other things that I've turned off is this assign policy. I've never used that in my life, so I just turned that off. I added block in there. So just go through this list. If you never use it, turn it off, simplify your menu here. So we'll go ahead and save that where it's at. So the reply to email is, let's just hit that. So that will open up your meeting tool right away. Makes it real easy. Automatically puts who it's to right there and has your scheduling assistant. We can do a whole training session just on calendar management as well. You have chat. So this is just encouraging you to chat kind of back and forth, chat with all recipients, chat with Anne, so whoever sent it, anyone that's a part of the team. So if it's an internal email, you can kind of get this over to chat and get some feedback. I don't really use that too often, but sharing there. So your quick steps. I really like quick steps. So they kind of work like sweep, but they make actions a lot quicker. So I use an important email box, just kind of that's my to-do list. I try to get things out of my inbox and just classified really quickly. And I actually use these quick steps to just help with that. So if I say something's like critical, oops, I put that done needs filed, but let's say this one's critical. We can critical drop everything. We can then go in here and go to my critical drop everything folder. It labels it automatically. It's in here. It's highlighted. So let's just put that back in my inbox real quick. So to create a quick step, all you need to do is click here, manage your quick steps, create a quick step. You choose a name. So maybe I'll choose client email and choose an action. It can go, what do I want to do with it? Move to, mark as read, tag it, something, unpin it, pin it to task, create a task. So there's a bunch of different things you can do here. I would probably move to. And then, so we're going to select a folder and we're going to create, well, I'll just call it important there. And then we just save it and it moves it there. You can create a shortcut if you wanted to. So I could just press Control Shift 5 because this is the 5th one in the list. And maybe if I did that, I'd probably put a 5 in front of it and say client email, and that would send it over. So really helpful if I did something like this, and I can always move it really quickly to my important email. But I'm going to go ahead and discard that one for right now. Here's the ones I have. If I want to always come in and edit it, I can easily do that and change it really quickly. So close that out. So quick steps, recommend using them. Same thing with categories. So if you want to categorize something, you will put a little label here, put a little label here, just makes it a little bit easier to set them up. I usually just partner those and pair those with my quick steps. So like this is critical, drop everything, flagged it automatically, or categorize it automatically. Flags a little bit different. So flags are follow-ups. Follow-ups required today, tomorrow, tasks, this week, next week. One thing I really like with these is they will automatically come over here to your to-do list. So they'll be on your to-do list. Let me see if I can open this up real quick and ignore all these, but these are all flagged emails that probably should be followed up with. And you can see them right there. So little email cleanup that I got to do there. Next, you have pinning. So pinning will actually put it back up to the top here. So like if I pin, let me do this. Let's move this. Put this in focused. Okay, so we're gonna move it to focused. So now like if you look at here at pinned, and if I pin something, it will put it up to the top. If I unpin, it will move it down. So pin are like, hey, this is what I'm working on right at the top here. This is the first thing I need to work on. So just pinning is helpful, remind you. Opposite, snooze. So say I don't want to look at anything today, I can right click snooze and say I want it to come back this evening, or maybe I want to only see it tomorrow. So that will actually come back into my inbox tomorrow. So snoozing is pretty helpful with that. So then just know that you have all these other apps here that you can add. Like I have an Outlook or a Procore for Outlook, send to OneNote, Viva Insights. You can always add additional apps right here. If there's something that you think is really helpful, there's a ton of these. So maybe you use Adobe Sign, or you use Salesforce, or you have, here's my templates that you can add to this as well. So that's your template emails. Okay, so then let's go. Last one here. Remember, you can block a sender. So if I never want to see Procore emails, I can block that sender. I can also never block. That will make sure they're always kept in focused. Like really, I should move this one to other and always show in other. There used to be a way right here to move these right to other or focused, unfocused. I'll just do it that way. Couple other little things. in here. So I can react to an email. So I can put like thumbs up, just like I would another message. We also showed you how to customize your ribbon. So just remember that that's there to customize it. And then I usually either click them here or go up here to make the changes. You also have your filters here of things like @mention, flagged, to me, has files. So remember these filters are here to make you more easily see it. A little aside, if you drag this over, you'll move to like a wider view of the information, and then you'll just drag it back and forth as well. You always have your search here. If you need to do a more advanced search, you click this little box here, and that will give you more ability to search it and filter out your emails. Last couple little tips here I'll give you guys is about composing an email. So when you hit new, and I'll just type it, I'll just send one to myself. By the way, that's a nice feature that's been added. I assume everyone's seen that, where you have like external, internal here. So you can see exactly where you're sending it. So that's really helpful to know. You have your basic subject, example, email. Here's my templates that you can add, and you can start going in here and add a new template and call this hello and say hello world and put some basic information in here. So now I can just click that, hello world, and put that in there. So those are the templates. Some other little things in here. Remember, you can @mention, so @Brittany, and that will create a message. I always like to hit the backspace because it's more casual. So backspace it out, put @Brittany, and then you can kind of create a message that will put that person automatically in the to. If there is a task or something for someone to do, really recommend the @Brittany or @mention. So, hey, this is calling you out. This is what I need you to work on. Another little thing here is you can hit this and it will automatically go ahead and add that file in there. So that's added via OneDrive. If you want to come in here, you can open it. You can right click on it, attach as a copy. So it's going to put it up there. Sometimes what I'll even do is in emails, I'll come in here and say that and put both in there and put it back and forth. So that really makes it helpful. Say, please use this. If you can't use this, here's the one version for you to download. Another little thing here is when you go to send this, if you're doing it after work hours, I really like to schedule the send. So go ahead and click schedule send, pick tomorrow morning, Sunday morning, or custom time, and just choose like later today. So after hours, really like to click that delay send. Nice thing too is if you delay send something, you can always go back in and fix it. Make a mistake, change it before if anything gets updated. And that's really helpful. Last couple things I'm going to show you for today, and we're going to call it a day, is meeting polls. So up here at the top, you have a quick poll. You also have a scheduled meeting poll. So let's do fun to schedule a meeting. So come here, click this schedule poll. And then on the right-hand side, you pick a duration of a meeting. So 15-minute, 30-minute, hour-long meeting, hour-and-a-half meeting. You can come in here and say, hey, I want it this time, this time. You can look at, see who's on the meeting. So whoever's up here in this invite, you can see who's available when they're not available, and you can pick out some times. If they're outside the company, they won't be in here, but let's just go here, next. You can pick a location, make it a meeting poll, and then just create a meeting poll, and then they'll be able to vote on times that they're available. So if I click vote, it's going to pull up something like this, and I can say, this is my preferred. Nope, we're not going to do that, and I'll vote, and now I'll have my preference there, and then Brittany can put her preference in there as well. So those are some couple things. We can delay this send. Hopefully those are a couple tips that helped you out. If you have anything else, feel free to add it to the chat. So that's all I have for today. If you guys have anything else, I think I'm going to go back to the other environment or do a little testing for the next one so that you guys can have better interaction. I don't mind having people jump in and see the presentation and have comments and stuff. Next meeting, if you could in the chat, tell me which one you would like. I want to talk about booking. So how to use booking tool, like putting a little link. If I create a new email, there's a little link at the bottom of my email that says book time. How do we do that? How do we set that up for a company? How do we set up that for a person? Another one is Outlook Calendar and some tips and tricks there. So OneNote, how to use Microsoft Copilot, what that looks like, some Windows text tips, meetings, how to run a more effective Teams meeting that you can actually have people chat back and forth with you, Viva Insights. So if you have one of those that you prefer, go ahead and add it to the Q&A, to the comments. Otherwise, I will let you guys have the rest of your day back. And thanks for joining, and have a wonderful rest of your day.